Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. You know, we're doing a lot of cool stuff about sports, entertainment, and money. And Chris Kidd leads that, and he's he's a financial coach and a financial consultant. His website is chriskidd.com. And I love spending time with him, and I love spending time with the stories you bring to the program. Good to see you, Chris.
Good to be here.
Tell us a little bit about your practice, the work you do in helping people before you introduce the audience to a guest who's been on before and does a fantastic job. Talk a little bit about what you do, though.
Well, basically what I do is I try to help be more of an educator. That's kind of where coach comes from. It's a coach is more of a teacher. A lot of people in the financial area are more into the sales area. So versus selling somebody a product or a service or investments or anything like that, I don't deal with that. I teach people how to think, how to manage their money in better ways, how to be more efficient with it. Just really to be smarter with their money, and then also how to build wealth through different investment vehicles or starting their own business and a multitude of things. But basically teaching them to make a lot smarter money decisions. Yeah, absolutely. And our guest today is John Karaffa with ProSport CPA, and we had him on a couple of weeks ago, and I think we ran out of time. We wanted to get him back to talk some more on some stuff because, I mean, he's had some great things to share, and I know he's got a lot more. So good to have you on, John, again.
Oh, thank you very much. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good to have you on. Kind of remind us again exactly the breadth and depth of your CPA practice.
No, thank you very much. Yeah, ProSport CPA provides tax accounting and financial education services to professional athletes. So like Chris, we're kind of in the business of helping to guide our clientele through a very complicated and as you guys know, well-publicized area, and really try to help make them understand how to make better financial decisions.
Very good. Go ahead there, Chris.
Well, John, what are a lot of the, the pitfalls or the mistakes that you see either with clients who you're dealing with or probably more so clients that you are not dealing with that you see them making? And I assume that it's usually the younger ones make the mistakes more often than the older ones, huh?
Yeah, a lot of what I see revolves around the folks that they put on their team that are going to be in the position to guide them. So, when you talk about a financial team, it's really I like to see when athletes pick financial advisors for being the most qualified and for being specialists in dealing with athletes, as opposed to financial advisors that maybe a college roommate just starting out, or a relative who may be in the field but not necessarily experienced with working with athletes. So a lot of it revolves around the folks that are helping to guide them and not necessarily putting the best team together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Where do you begin to build that team?
It really starts with for the guy, especially in college. The agent is a pivotal member of their team because that's really the one that's going to help guide them to the best opportunity to make the pro ranks. And from there, a lot of times guys don't have the same rigor in picking the financial advisor, the CPA, the attorney that may be helping them as well. So if they can just keep on going with a robust process, maybe even with the university's help, to make sure that those individuals are screened and that are true professionals, as opposed to who perhaps had the closest relationship with the athlete.
Very good. Go ahead, Chris.
What's I guess some of the other mistakes that you see as far as how we see the stories of athletes that just like blow money like crazy, and you wonder where did all that money go? There's actually a story I read the other day. A Dallas Cowboy actually had a situation with his parents where he pretty much had to cut them off because he gave them an allowance. He was going to buy them a house, and you would expect, well, hey, yeah, my son's making millions of dollars now. He's rich, and it's you're kind of entitled. Well, he said he'd buy him a home, but it's up to, a few $100,000, and then the price more than doubled on them with what they came back with, and he ended up having to cut them off. But wouldn't you say that that's one other area that and how do they say no when it's somebody like that?
Yeah, no, that definitely is an area that is troubling at times. The way I look at it is, my main advice is to say no to requests for money. Mm-hmm. A guy definitely, or a female professional athlete, everybody wants to help their family out in one way or another, and I strongly encourage that. Taking care of family should be a high priority. However, it should be reasonable in amount, should definitely be planned out, and should be at the player's decision and what they're comfortable with no strings attached. So the requests that come, that's where I encourage players to say, "Hey, talk to John. He's my CPA. We'll check and see if it's in the budget, and then he brings all the requests to me." Mm-hmm. So it kind of puts the burden onto somebody else to potentially have to say no if it's a situation where it just doesn't fit in the player's budget. It's a very limited amount of money that these individuals are going to earn over a very small period of time that in some sports is unknown. A football guy, he could get injured and it could be a one-and-done situation. The contracts aren't guaranteed. For basketball, it's a little bit more guaranteed, but the players aren't as rich as some of the family members seem to think they are.
Right. They're only rich in proportion to how poor their families often are. And so it looks ridiculous and it looks outrageous, but the reality is it's also extremely fragile.
Yeah. And another thing is that folks don't realize when a player has a salary that's out there and published and in the public eye, you really got to take half of that out in taxes. Taxes are every athlete's largest expense by far, well more than the agent, well more than living or training or anything else in their budget. So that's why we take it from a tax and accounting approach with my firm and really trying to educate guys to understand that's your largest expense. Let's really take time and get to know each other so that we can optimize the situation so that they're paying the lowest legal amount of tax possible. So that's why we really try to build that relationship and not be in the background because of that expense being so large. But again, it goes back to a published salary is double what a guy's really going to make net.
Right. That's exactly true. All right. We got to wrap it up with that great conversation. What's your website again?
Oh, thank you. It's ProSport CPA.com. So ProSport Certified Public Accountant.com.
I love it. Final thoughts from Chris Kidd?
Fantastic. That was another great interview, John.
Yeah, I love it. chriskidden.com, by the way. That's 2 D's at the end. And check him out. And as always, love your interviews, Chris. Good job.
Thanks a lot.
When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdatareview.com. And I am Kevin Price, and this is The Price of Business.